Hey YouTube, it's me again. I just had to do this video about stuff that I've come across that has blown my mind, and I'm hoping you can help me with your comments because it's way, way, way beyond anything I know anyone talking about. But I do have to give credit first to Rupert Sheldrake, whose video, The Science Delusion, really got me started with the material, even though I have it organized in a different way than how he presented it. I respect him because he is in the field, whereas I am absolutely not in the field, and I don't really know what I'm talking about, except in very general abstract terms. But check it out. It's cosmic. It's amazing stuff. All right. Now, for those of you who are sensitive to terms like, let's throw out some fancy words here, religionism, scientism, right, which is different than religion or science in that they are the exclusive fixation on the religious perspective or the scientist perspective, to the exclusion really of reality. I'm actually titling this video Scientism, Religionism, and Reality, because that's really what it's about. And I'm just going to try and break this down pretty simply. And I know that a lot of this is considered to be hypothetical. The Higgs field is considered hypothetical. That is to say, they have not been able to establish proof of that it's real. The Higgs field, as I understand it, is the same as ether, except that they're trying to revive the idea, so they dare not call it something that science let go of 100 years ago, for reasons that we won't go into right now. But let's just say they weren't scientific reasons, they were reasons of scientism. Specifically, I would say, not to be too polemical, but having to do with the agenda of the Freemasons and the Zionists in opposition to the Vatican, or attempting to replace the Vatican, and generally other similar organizations, Canterbury perhaps, and all that they stand for. Christianity in a orthodox or a traditional sense. All right. So that is scientism in a nutshell. And scientism in the 20th century has tried to get rid of the Higgs field. Ether. And that I'm going to postulate now that is the same thing as spirit, which, according to the Bible, is the same as God. God is spirit, spirit is God. This is going to sound more Eastern than Western when we get into it, because of course it is science, and it is a unifying way of looking at reality, not a materialistic way of looking at reality that science promotes, but a unified or an integrated way of looking at reality. So you're going to hear terms that are scientific terms, but also religious terms. And I'm going to marry the two together. And I'm going to say that spirit and ether are the same thing. And of course, spirit, as John says in the New Testament, God is spirit. Well, John has Jesus saying God is spirit to Nicodemus. So that's the first point, I guess, since we're going in that order now. And soul then would be dark matter, which even dark matter, I was surprised to find out, is considered, according to Wikipedia, to be only hypothetical and not necessarily real. But I want to caution you on this, because bear in mind that the scientific community also looks askance at the existence of the soul, in spite of all the experiments showing the weight of the soul, where they have placed dying patients on scales. and they lose, give or take, 21 grams consistently, repeatedly, in many different countries. Especially, it's interesting to note, communist countries on the other side of what they used to call the Iron Curtain. So this is not by any means just a bunch of Christians trying to prove that the soul is real from a scientific standpoint. This is anti-theists, atheists, militant atheists, communists, finding time and time again that, yes, there is something we can't account for that has mass, that has weight, that leaves the body. Now, they've tried this on animals too, I want to notice, and I don't have exactly everything in front of me right now, but I do know that certain animals have actually have gained weight, and that's another reason why I think that dark matter is involved, because dark matter has the opposite of gravitation. It has a reverse gravitation at work, so that would make perfect sense that in losing dark matter, you could gain weight just as easily as, I don't know why do we lose weight then if it's well, obviously there's something more that's unknown there, about the soul, or let's just say whatever it is, object Q, that leaves the body at death, right about at death. So a lot of Catholics I know don't want to hear that, because and they're really not going to want to hear the next one, because for some reason they have it in their minds that the soul must be weightless. So because to say that it has weight, they think means is to say that it is material, which of course isn't quite true. It's invisible, right? So it's not visible. Doesn't have visible shape. Whether or not it has shape or not, I think it does, probably, and that's manifested in the shape of the body in some way. But that's all very, I mean, this is just, we're spitballing here. I don't really know. This is more a field where intuition is probably just as helpful. So I, again, encourage any comments from any perspective, because what the bleep do we know? As the title of that documentary on quantum physics, maybe pseudoscience, or maybe just a different perspective. You know, I think of the same as Einstein. You know, he did a lot of pseudoscience, but I mean, you could be nice and say it's a different perspective. You know, I could say the same about all this quantum stuff. You know, the only question is which model. Some people say theory. I would say model. Which model brings us farther in our understanding? And I think an integrated model does for me, integrating science and religion, which, of course, the problem is that the Freemasons run both science and religion, or scientism and religionism, and that people worship the power structure and never get around to do what I'm doing right now. So, yay, autism. And then the third thing is, of course, well, you think I'm going to say matter, spirit, soul, then matter. Actually, well, close. I'm going to say the creator of matter, right? Which in the Hebrew of Genesis is called the Elohim, which it's a plural noun, but it's used in the singular. It's very strange. Of course, Hebrew generally, especially in the Bible, is strange. But the Psalms, I guess, there's a lot of words no one knows what they mean. So, but definitely our bodies were created, and then somehow our souls were trapped in our bodies by some kind of superior being. Oh, by the way, I also want to point out that our superior race, maybe immaterial race, perhaps. But I also want to point out that the both spirit and soul, of course, are considered to be invisible. That is to say that light passes through them uninterrupted. Okay, so if something's invisible, it doesn't mean it's not there, that it's not real, that it might even have mass. It just means that light can pass through. Like light passes through the ether, hypothetically. It's there, but it's structured so that light can pass straight through it, uninterrupted. Same is true, I think of dark matter. Why would they call it dark matter? Right, because it's invisible. Not because it's dark, or because it doesn't absorb light. It just passes right through it. Okay, different from a black hole, which is invisible because it absorbs light. It does not let it escape, because of course we know light is something between. It's energy, but it's also matter. So even light has mass, obviously, because otherwise black holes couldn't suck them in, suck in the photons, which is what light is made of. Mind-blowing stuff. Light, water, too. I've been learning about water, but anyway, it's just amazing. So that's all I had. Yeah. Again, what science calls let's backtrack here. What science calls ETs, what religion calls the creator or creators. What science calls the Higgs field, what traditional science / religious people call the aether, maybe the heavens, and then what religious people call the soul, what scientific people call dark matter. I got it switched. Anyway, that's sort of what I'm interested in hearing some feedback about, because I think these are really interesting questions, at least in my mind. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and let's keep this conversation rolling.